Live from Chicago's #1 news, ABC7 Eyewitness News, Sunday morning starts right now.
Good morning to all of you as we get the Sunday morning started. You can see the clouds there over the lakefront. We have a lot of news to get to. We're going to start off with weather, though. I'm Stacey Baca.
And I'm Mark Rivera, dealing with some wind this morning after that severe weather in parts of our western areas and south as well. Greg.
Now to the latest on the COVID-19 pandemic. There are nearly 3,500 confirmed cases in Illinois and 47 people have died.
We have team coverage this morning, and Diane Patthew is at a COVID-19 testing site on the city's northwest side. But we begin with Jesse Kirsch at the United Center, where critical protective gear for doctors and nurses will be collected all afternoon. Jesse. All right, Jesse, thank you. And let's head out now to Diane Patthew, who's live at one of the city's testing centers on the northwest side. Diane.
Waiting for hours. Thank you, Diane. For the first time in the U.S., an infant has died from COVID-19. The infant is from Chicago.
A full investigation is underway to determine the actual cause of death. I want everyone in Illinois to take COVID-19 serious. If you haven't been paying attention, maybe this is your wake-up call.
While children aren't completely free from that fatal outcome, it is exceedingly unlikely to occur in an otherwise healthy child.
And doctors at Lurie Children's Hospital say there are children who have been diagnosed with COVID-19, but their cases are relatively mild. New social distancing rules will take effect this week at grocery stores. The governor is ordering signage be posted at the entrance and throughout the stores, alerting customers that they must follow a 6-foot separation rule. There will also be floor markers placed at checkout lines. Cashless purchases and use of self-checkout lanes are also advised. Shield guards will also be required, and reusable bags are prohibited.
Victims of the virus include a 61-year-old Chicago man who was one of the 3 latest deaths in Cook County. Sherman Pittman is described by his pastor as a vital member of the Rose of Light Community Church in Englewood.
He's an outstanding guy, great guy, warm-hearted guy. He took over one of our organizations in the church, which was my ushers, my youth ushers, and he became like a father to each and every one of the children.
Edwards tells us both children and adults like to talk to Pittman because he listened without judgment and gave good advice. In Indiana, another 7 deaths were reported this weekend. That brings the total to 31, which includes the first death in Lake County, Indiana. The number of confirmed cases has surged to more than 1,200, though testing is mostly limited right now to people who are seriously ill and medical workers. The state health commissioner says the peak is expected in mid to late April.
The mayor and police chief in Aurora are still in isolation this morning after testing positive for COVID-19. Neither has been hospitalized, but Chief Kristen Zeman says that they are doing what they can to stop the spread of the virus, and Karen Jordan has more on their stories. The leaders' work areas at City Hall and the police department were cleaned and disinfected last week.
COVID-19 has the state pushing back the deadline for people applying for cannabis-related licenses. Applications for cannabis infusers, craft growers, and transporter licenses to the Illinois Department of Agriculture are now due by April 30th. They were originally due tomorrow, but the governor is extending the deadline because of the pandemic. Those licenses will be issued by July 1st.
An eerie scene last night in Times Square. Just look at this. A normally bustling spot for residents and tourists, of course, on a Saturday night was virtually empty. It's now become a ghost town there because of the COVID-19 pandemic and, of course, stay-at-home orders. New York State has a total of 834 deaths, with nearly 700 of those happening in New York City. There are more than 53,000 confirmed cases across the state. The CDC is advising residents of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut not to travel domestically after the number of reported deaths doubled nationwide just within 2 days. The travel advisory to refrain from non-essential domestic travel for 14 days, it is effective immediately. It does not apply to employees of critical infrastructure industries. President Trump first considered issuing a quarantine for parts of those states, later said, though, that it's not necessary. And a reminder as well, you can always get the latest information from our online interactive guide on COVID-19. Just type in abc7chicago.com/coronavirus.
Up next, we're following breaking news from overnight. A bullet flies through a door, hitting a teenage girl. What was happening in the moments that led up to that shooting?
And then major damage in Arkansas after a tornado tears through part of the state.
And a sign of progress in China, how the former epicenter of COVID-19 is getting back on track.